Welcome back to another review and feedback. This one I have a special interaction for you. I have two separate games from the same players submitted on the StarCraft 2 subreddit. And we're going to go ahead and jump into game one. For those of you that like seeing what's going on in games, understand what's going on. MMR is about 4,500 for each player. A little less than that for one of the two. We're going to go a little bit quick because these games are long. The Protoss opens up the exact same way in both games. I saw both of them. I had some production problems in 3 attempts to get this right, so I'm sorry that I know what happens in the games. I'm really not excited about that. I like going into them blind, but because of those production issues, which I'll load those videos so you can kind of see if you'd like, and see my frustration with it and all that kind of stuff. Point being is essentially these games I know the outcomes, so I'm going to go a little bit quick through them. The red Protoss opens the same way. The Zerg actually opens up 2 different ways in both of the games. This first game, we have a normal hatch first into an extractor and a spawning pool, and then a third hatch once they're protected. For those of you that do watch my other videos, I talk about an overlord placement that does occur. I'm going to go ahead and briefly go over that again. In this game, this Masters player did exactly what I was saying. They took their second overlord and they sent it over here, and they had it park here until to make sure that the probe didn't do a cannon rush. They then, as they took their second overlord, sent it elsewhere. I think this is their second overlord. They probably would have sent it here or here or something like that, so that way you can get full vision, so you can sack it. They're getting full information now, and they're sacking their first overlord. It's okay either way. There's the different playstyles for different things, and you can see that this Protoss is kind of hunting down that overlord. Doesn't check over here. You get another big swath of information, seeing the fleet beacon and all that kind of stuff. But for now, you know that you need to build up, get your tier 2, make sure you have the anti-air. Should be putting down spore crawlers sometime in the near future because you know that they're going air. You saw 2 Stargates. You should click on the buildings, make sure you have this space information down here available for you when you click on buildings. You can see there's a forge, but if I don't click on it, you can't tell until it's really close to being finished. Obviously, you can see the difference between like a shield battery and a cannon if you have the health bars on. That's why people have them on. But you wouldn't have the difference between like a Stargate, a fleet beacon, a gateway, a cyber core, robo bay, etc. unless you click on it. So just something to be aware of in your own skill-based stuff. In your own learning of the game and the such of that nature. There's a reason that they do that. So in this map, there's a lot of dead zone over here, so you want to definitely put up spore crawlers around here to protect yourself. I would never, ever, ever place my Hydra down here. It's just a mistake. Things happen. I understand you want to be quick. You're looking in a specific place. You just drop a building unit where you drop it. In here, there's a lot of shield damage. A lot of the, not that many, only like 6 or 7 of the interceptors go down. But this is very good control by the Protoss. I've seen a similar build to this with my previous loads that you saw Friday. Opening a Void Ray into double carrier seems to be the meta right now. So just something to be aware of if you're playing Zerg. You might want to be more defensive with regards to the number of spore crawlers you put. Make sure you go into your higher tech for anti-air rather quickly. Make sure you're scouting appropriately to handle your opponent. Point being is that there is some things that you would want to do. There was a recall used to bring those back over. I'm sorry that I missed the slight bit of timing on that. The shield battery was not used to recharge it. They were already full. Motherships is up. We're going to have a lot of... get that. Good job denying the 4th. This is where you run away. Don't try and engage. This is not a place you want to engage in. You want to leave. What you want to do is not fight this army. This is not going to turn out well for you. You can obviously see that they lost all of their Hydras. You denied this base. You had a superior army. You want to keep the Hydras you have. And what you would do is you go into your Spire and build your Corruptors. Then you have 2 armies that you can hit in different places, or you go Muta. And you hit places where they're not at. So you go in and you take out any workers that don't have cannons or shield batteries around. You just build like 10 mutas, not a whole bunch. Enough to be really, really troublesome. But imagine if they didn't have to respend all that money on those Hydras. They would have been in a really, really good place. And they would have been able to deny that fourth base more than once. You could have continuously denied this, right? They couldn't be on the other side of the map because you would have been pressuring. Lots of little things that you could do to make it so that you're doing okay against your opponent. You need to rebuild that base. You need to build another base here. You need to continue your upgrading worker production. You're only at 71. You are Zerg. You should be in the 80s at this point. Could be worse, could be better. I like the Microbial Shroud. That's what this is. What it does is it basically, you can read it right there, but it makes it so that any air attacks do 50% less damage when they are hitting stuff. So it's like really, really powerful against an air-based army like this. I'd have also gone after this base again, make sure that they don't get that fourth. You want them to slowly die out, where they bleed a unit or two, and you don't care because you have 6 bases, and they care because they're on 3 base. So you want to deny this base, you want to deny this base. So you like burrow Ling here or burrow Hydra there. Have an army that's gonna be just really hard for your opponent to like. You just want to make it so that it's annoying for them to expand, and you want to make sure that when you are doing things that you're not losing your whole army. So they're tossing away their whole army for a mothership, maybe a couple carriers. You can see the loss discrepancy here, right? Don't throw away your army. Just kill the base, get out. Kill the base, get out. And then get lurkers so that we can sneak a lurker in here. They have to have revelations. They have to have some kind of scouting ability. Hit them in ways that they're not. Here's mutas. Here's mutas. Again, 5-10, not a whole bunch. Make sure that you are not putting your army all the way back. You want to kind of be ready for, like, so if you put, so I'm going to slow this down for just a minute. If you put all your spores really far forward, your army should be within reaching distance of it at all times. You don't want to pull all the way back here and have your spore forest up here. Also, this is great. I love having this contingency over here attacking and denying the space, and then coming over here and getting ready to deny over there. Obviously, you want lurkers because then you can kill the High Templar. You just want like 4 or 5. Not a lot, just a few. I do like the 3-3 getting built out really, really fast. Positioning, the reason that you have your creep is so that you can continuously move out, or not move out, but you have a bigger space to move quickly, as well as know where your opponent's going. Pull this army out. But those kind of things are important when you're facing an opponent that is a Masters player. If you're not making those adjustments, you're going to put yourself in a situation where your worker count is low, you don't have the army to replenish, you don't have the right forces, you are going to get destroyed by their tier 3 units, their tier 2 or tier 3 units, casters, as well as their tier 2 units that are there to stop you from doing corruptor builds. This army, this force is not good against mutas. Vipers. Vipers was amazing, right? There's a lot of choices that were made in this game that made it so that the Protoss was able to get ahead and stay ahead. And of course, there's no spores at all on any of the bases anymore because they moved them all up here and they all died without any support. Super important things to note. I do like the Microbial Shroud. I do like what we're doing here. Killed off all of the interceptors for at least 2 of those carriers. This army, get it. I know they don't, but get it. Like this, just imagine. Like this is, sorry. This is really painful to watch, because this Zerg definitely had the ability to win this game, but just didn't end up executing in a way that made it so that they could. Oops. And I'm sure they're absolutely frustrated with it. They're so poor on money because they're getting stormed. They don't have any repercussions to kill the Templar because they didn't end up building any lurkers. They just didn't do that. Just like a handful of them would be all you need. As soon as you saw the first storm, 3 to 5 lurkers. Keep it with the army. You're good. You want to test them. So build like a handful of mutas. Hit those mineral lines. Like, that's completely undefended. That's completely undefended. That's completely undefended. And it's been that way the whole game. You never pressured your opponent in a way that made it so that the game was going, like, you didn't force them into a situation where they're in trouble. That's unfortunate for the Zerg, but GG's. We are going to jump into the second one. As I said, the Zerg opens ever so slightly differently. That's interesting. That was a weird graphical display. Both players are playing again at about 100 MMR above where they were before, so they've played several games between. We're going to go ahead and skip forward. As I said, the Protoss opens the exact same way. We're going to watch the Zerg because of it. We got an extractor trick to get ourselves an extra worker and get that base up before the probe can get across. Doesn't do any kind of detection or any of that kind of stuff. The probe kind of looks around, sees the spawning pool timing. It's good to have multiple builds in your pocket so that when you do eventually show up and see other players, you can see this second Overlord coming over like we talked about. But that way, when you play the same players again and again and again, you don't get complacent with what your build's going to be and how you're going to handle things, because you're going to be knowledgeable, because they're going to remember what you did. That's why at the very, very upper tiers of play, you'll have sometimes a breakout performance from a player that hasn't been up there in a long time, because the professionals are playing against each other all the time. Well, when you get into certain bubbles of skills, you're going to run into the same players a lot. So you just need to be aware of it and all that kind of stuff. That being said, no lings ever produced at all in this game, if I recall correctly, or very few. Going up in gas and extractors out front. No spores going out. We know that we have Stargates on the way. We saw it. We saw that with our Overlord. The Overlord goes back in. We're going to see another exact same opener with 2 Stargates. So, spores, right here. You know that there's a lot of dead space here. I do note where I talked about in the first game, you might have missed it because it is part of the bad production stuff. You know, expanding your bases out this direction so that you kind of deny this dead zone to your opponent. Then, of course, you see the fleet beacon. Like, you know your opponent's going to be doing carriers again. Time to just okay, how long do I have? Well, they're not under construction now, we know that, but they're going to be under construction. Let's take 6 drones and just throw up spores all over there. Let's continue to build up, and then get some spores over here, and some maybe 1 or 2 back here as well. Continue producing queens. Get up a spire as fast as possible. Get your Hydra den as fast as possible. Hydras are probably the better choice with supported spores. The reason being, at least initially, is that you are able to keep your opponent off of you while you expand very, very, very fast. You have 10k, 10k. Or sorry, not 10k, 1k, 1k. So getting bases and expanding, this is what you want to do. You need to keep your worker production up. Getting, again, up to that number, that sweet, sweet number of 80-something is important. But having those spores is so necessary. Remember to cancel, pull back your workers, don't lose stuff if you can. Cancel, 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 don't lose it. Does the cancel, good job, loses 3 drones in the process. No spores. 1 spore in the mineral line. You know he's going carriers from the last game. You saw that he's doing the exact same structures. He's got Stargates, he's got the fleet beacon. The chances of him doing anything other than the exact same build, when he beat you with it, it's pretty slim. You just need to be able to be aware of that. That being said, the Spire worked out timing-wise, and then the number of corruptors at 13 worked out really well. So I can't say that build was build decisions were bad. You just got to be cognizant of what your opponent's doing. Also, you know these they go into the dead zone. Go kill them. Go kill them. Take all of those corruptors that you just built, send them into the dead space. Make sure they're not there anymore. Just make sure they're not there. There is multiple workers that go down, a queen that goes down if I'm not mistaken, and yet it's easy. It was an easy way to just kill these carriers when they were still low on worker or production. All that kind of stuff. Now you have the advantage, and your units are on the other side of the map before they produce more stuff. Deny that zone immediately. So, speeding up a little bit, we're just crossing the map. Drone production is getting ramped back up. Not enough, because they built a lot. I do like this idea. This concept of spitting on the Nexus is great. But as soon as you saw the mothership, time to pull out. Or change focus to the mothership. You know, right click out, and then click on the mothership immediately. The reason that you do that is they're going to do the invisibility thing. And the mothership is the unit that does it. You need to make sure you deny that stuff. Now that you have full information on their base, pull back. Don't lose any more, which I believe they do. Look at it. Say, okay, what can I do? Okay, they did the same thing last game. And they have their Twilight Council. Let me get my Hydras. Let me get my Lurkers. So that way, my Corruptors aren't screwed with Storm, And that way, I have stuff to make it so that it's a pain. They need to have the ability to see things, make it so it's a challenge for them. Obviously, continue to make sure that they stay on 3 base. Make sure you saturate your other bases. You're only on 70 workers. You're about 16 behind where you are. If you look at each one of your bases, you're undersaturated all over the place. This is not good for you. You need more workers. Hell, go to 100 workers. If you had 100 workers right now, my goodness, your income would be absolutely bonkers. Your opponent wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Also, good deny, making it cost a little bit. Make sure that you have all of your corruptors on a hotkey. That way you could pull them back more effectively so you don't lose one. You know that they want these voids. Voids are really bad against hydras. Build up your spores, right? Those extra workers that you have not produced is causing problems. These are just little minor things to make it so that you're going to do a little bit better. I do like the idea here of coming in at a different angle. I don't know if I would... I personally would probably blow up this gateway and build around a links. Minerals are your choke point right now. It happens. It's okay. Supply black occurring. It's okay. But like having these hydras, I wouldn't attack. Don't group them up like that. Send the hydras over here. Send the corruptors over here. That's how you deny the base. That's how you make them make a decision, right? Because if they don't deal with these hydras here, killing the zealot, killing the cyber core, getting the gateway, getting a stargate, you're gonna deny a lot of value that's over here that you need to. That makes it really, really hard to fight the Golden Armada later on. They're getting their third attack. You know that it's busy. They're either getting armor or they're getting more attack, and you're not doing anything to do with it. You're sending your army right up the middle. You're not doing anything to be. This was a cool pullback. I really like that pullback. That was really good. The army's over here. Go over here, then attack here, or go over here and attack here. Don't go home. Don't go back to the same place. Also, using your changelings to see where the army is. Great idea. I really like it. And you did eventually. It was just a little bit slower than I would like it to have been. Again, Corruptors in a different location. Then Storm just completely obliterates you. Corruptors over here, while those Hydras are over here. Just more than one front always challenges other players. Always. Professionals are able to handle it barely. They sometimes get also the one shot against the carriers. So good. But like, I don't know if I would sacrifice all these for these carriers, especially with the shields and all that kind of stuff that are there. I'd have probably run away at this point. You're too far in. I know you're excited. You killed a lot of carriers. Woo! But you're losing all your corruptors for it. Remember, if you can do damage without losing stuff, you're going to do much better. Look at the resource discrepancy again. Yeah, the Protoss over here hasn't fully saturated, has oversaturated in a couple of their bases, right? But like, the income is definitely in the favor of the Zerg, but not for long. Where's your additional workers? You're still short by like 15 or 16 workers, an entire base of income. Still short. Where's your queen production and your injects? Not present. I don't see them anywhere. It's because they pulled them off, if I remember correctly. They were, yeah, they pull them off. They weren't doing what they're supposed to do. They put them in a different group somewhere weird. They didn't continuously spread their creep. And you don't need to fight right now. This is a time to build up. Your opponent's building up too. If you think it's time to fight, then you need to position yourself in a way that you're going to fight and do damage where they're not. Nothing over here. Hit way over here and hit way over here. For an army like this, you can't be in both places at the same time. You're not going to have a mothership. You're not going to have whatever. Also having lurkers. You put like 3 lurkers, just like right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now your opponent has to figure out how... They can't storm it, so they have to have the appropriate vision. They need to. They don't. Alright, where's your corruptor production? Where's your lurkers? Why is your creep not spread all the way up to their doorstep? They haven't moved out. You just keep bashing your head against their stuff. Nice map hacks. The army was right here. You hit over here, and then they ran over. That's not a map hack. That's just positioning your army where your resource collection is. This is resource collection. This is resource collection. You want to protect those 2 bases. And you weren't doing any damage at the main door. You hit it one time in the entire game. There was like 10 opportunities to say Corruptors on this guy and Hydra's over here. Or Hydra's over here, Corruptors getting rid of this next guy. Or even going in and getting the Templar archives or whatever, right? Like there's... Positionally, the Protoss did a really good job. The Zerg didn't really do anything to pull them apart. Saying map hacks is a cop-out. I think I should have won. I played really well. My opponent didn't play really well from my point of view. I assume that they're cheating. In this instance, you had full information on what they were doing. You didn't put down spores to adjust for their behavior from the exact same map, exact same playstyle. You saw it probably the day before or earlier that day. Your income is low the whole game. Like, rough. You place your Hydra Den in a really crappy spot for where your opponent's going to hit you. Like, if you put the Hydra Den here, then your queens could get there, protect it. You could put spores near it. You could make it so that you have the Hydras rally around it. Yeah. You put it here over the biggest dead space in the area. Second biggest is here. So if you put it like here, that's going to be right in the center of all your stuff. You're going to be able to respond appropriately to it. You need spores. You saw that he's going double Stargate. Where are your spores at? Not yet, obviously. You have to produce them. Right, but right now, you know that they're going to be building. You saw the void. Where are your spores? Sorry. All right, things that both players did well. The Zerg responded well when they saw certain things, but not well enough. Right? They said, "Oh, I saw Sky. Let me immediately put a layer down. Let me put down a Spire. Let me put down a Hydra Den." Sorry, I'm looking at both games, right? But not enough spores. Right? So they responded appropriately, but not enough. The other things that the blue player did was they expanded appropriately. They got to the right number of bases. They had the right idea. You can see that they're building up. Mutas destroy carriers, by the way, just like they destroy BCs. It's counterintuitive, I know. It feels weird, but because their shots bounce, they kill the interceptors very, very, very fast, and they do a really good job of outmaneuvering. You have to outmaneuver with them. Because you'll like take out the shield of the carrier and then they'll recall. Okay, cool. They waste their recall. Now hit what base they're not at. Also, you saw Void. Voids are really, really, really good against Corruptors, so you want to be conscientious of that fact too. That being said, no complaints overall. That is like, hey, you did stupid stuff other than not having enough spores. You know they're going to be doing this. Build more spores, build more bases, expand like crazy, make sure that you have enough workers. Those would be the big things, right? Having enough workers, having enough bases, as well as having the additional spores, right? This is an excellent defense. I really like it. It's perfectly spent. You're not losing much. This one queen gets down, you inject it. There's nothing that I'm like, oh god, you did poorly. And then having the Corruptors come over, they should have immediately gone over here. You know they ran away. Go over there and kill them, group them all up, and then go attack in that location, right? Get your F2. Now you have them all grouped. Go close out that void space. Get rid of it immediately. But you didn't. That's okay. But those are really my complaints for the Zerg. Protoss, other side of the map. Worker production slows. They don't expand enough, right? It's better to have an extra 2 bases and lose one of them than to be behind a base and not expand when you're doing pressure on the other side of the map. Biggest complaint I had for the Protoss. The other thing that the Protoss needed to do, that I would... minor complaint. Be ready for run-bys. Your opponent is going to send Zerglings more often than not. They're going to split their army up, so you're going to have stuff over here, stuff over here, stuff over here. You need to make sure that you have enough across the map with regards to what your opponent is going to be able to do. Also be aware, your mothership was exposed a few times. This is where, like, mothership attack or get out. don't continue to try and spit on the next eye. You know he has the ability to make it invisible. Like, come on. It's a timed thing now, 50 seconds. You don't want to lose corruptors for nothing. At this point, the game is pretty even, relatively speaking. Unit count-wise, I do like the damage on the mothership. Either commit or run away. You did the run away. Probably would have ignored the Void Ray. I don't know. You get excited, things happen, no worries. Hydra play transition is good, but you just ran through their base. You know they have a Twilight Council. Look at it, right? Did you take the time to look at what you saw? Actually, no, you didn't catch the Twilight Council. That's my bad. I thought you flew directly over it. That's totally my bad. Regardless, GG's to both players. Good game. Excellent new perspective of how you can go into carriers very fast. There are ways to deny this. It just hasn't been fleshed out into the lower mid-masters level at this point. And maybe this will be the way you change the meta. But yeah, more income. The carriers can only be so active. Once they do that recall, you got 50 seconds or whatever the timing on it is to go all over the place and just be annoying. Or the 50. I have to speed this up so I can see the time. That cooldown, 130 seconds, right? Once you get them to recall, guess what? Expand, saturate. They're not going to be able to do anything. These Hydras need to be attacking a different location at the same time these Corruptors are somewhere doing something annoying. You can see that, like, they didn't pull their army. You, like, flew over, didn't do any damage or anything, and they just, well, I'm going to go over my base. This denial was really good. I do like this. But imagine if the Protoss had another base built here, and instead of working on this base, was working on this base. Sorry, I was moving around really fast there. But good games for both players, and thanks for watching. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and see you next time.